Since you guys absolutely loved part 1 and just couldn't get enough from these badass so-called evil manhwa characters, we decided to compile for your entertainment yet another list with new heroes that aren't afraid to kill on the path of seeking justice and fairness within the world. That is why for today we will be talking about the top 10 manhwa where the main character is a badass villain and they're beating the shit, the absolute fuckery, out of the heroes part 2. So, before we start, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and press on that bell icon, and set as all to be notified about all our latest new videos. And it comes without saying, be aware of the following spoilers that are ahead. Coming in at number 10 is It Starts With a Mountain. Right off the bat, this guy dies while playing a video game called Start With a Mountain and gets isekai'd into the body of the main character, the young lord of the Toad Village. The today villain and influence spread to many areas and prefectures. However, with the death of his father and him receiving the reins, all his subjects refuse to remain by his side, claiming that he is not fit to rule. We don't owe him our allegiance or something like that, and he is too young, brash, and stupid to take control of the village. And just like that, his village population is reduced to only 3 people. The game system then shows up and appears, dragging him into her space. She then claims that for him to keep the system and all its perks, he needed to keep the population from dropping to 1 at any cost. What vile acts and low levels is he going to stoop down to in order to achieve his goals? No one knows. Coming in at number 9 is the Demon King who lost his job. Wow, this seems a bit familiar. Lucifer Merlin got isekai'd from his world and was granted a lot of power. Thanks to that immense power, he became the one called Demon King, the 3rd in his line to be exact, the ruler of the Castle of Pride. Lucifer Merlin's castle is then attacked by an immense holy army led by the bishop, his vizier, and the 233rd hero of the continent, Alice, the user of the Ice Saber. The vanguard of the arm was consisting of peasants and poor villagers, so they were caught off guard by the demonic army's assault, and the hero had to help them at any possible chance. The bishop, however, had an ace hidden up his sleeve: the White Whale. It is a weapon created by the church with the blessing of the goddess from the strongest metals in history and even a god's blood. This flying whale was massive, gigantic even. Everyone who felt this started pissing their pants. Even the hero herself was left breathless in the face of such a massive weapon. The demon lord Lucifer Merlin then decided to intervene in the battle since his army had no chance against it. With a single slash, the massive weapon of the gods and church got demolished and cut up into 2 halves. Lucifer then turned his sights onto the bishop and his army. While completely ignoring the hero Alice, he slashes them with a powerful attack which erases them from existence and leaves but a single crater as proof that a battle was here. He isn't as evil as some might think though. After attaining the title of Demon Lord, he discovered he is afflicted with a cardiac disease that will kill him. And thanks to his sword ability, he needs to venture into the world and find the strongest being in the world for his curse to be removed. Coming in at number 8 is Demon King Cheat System. Ah, such a lovely day. You just hear the birds chirping, the sun is out, you just feel the warmth. Just taking a deep breath of that. And holy shit, where are these magical portals coming from? Why are they everywhere? What the fuck? Yeah, that's what happens in the beginning here. Magical portals suddenly appeared out of nowhere, everywhere on Earth. And just like that, a flood of monsters rushed out of the portal, sweeping and killing everyone that they met. In return, the system of the dungeons granted humans the ability to fight back and gain levels, skills, and powers. Humans retaliated in a counterattack and amassed a powerful army of adventurers from all classes and levels led by the hero Liu Yu, against the leader of the monsters, the demon lord Ade-Salai. The battle between the leader of the humans and the demons was like nothing anyone had witnessed before. Both parties were fighting for the survival of their own race. Even though the hero held up his own for a while against the demon lord, he still lost, and while having his back to the ground waiting to be dealt the final blow, the humans distracted him with the fact that they captured his kin and tied them up. For a mere second, Ade-Salai dropped his guard. However, this mere 3 seconds was all the hero needed to deliver the final blow and shattered the demon lord, destroying him for good. 10 years later, our main character is level 3, being used as cannon fodder in the raid along with others like him. They encounter an elite monster, and even though he knows exactly what he has to do to slay it, his party members betray him and stab him with a spear from behind. He drops to the ground and receives a fatal blow by the elite monster. In that moment, the spirit of the demon lord returns and enters him, taking over his body and one-shotting the monster in a single hit. Immediately after killing the monster, he rises 2 levels and the boss appears. This isn't even the beginning of the end. He revived in this new body, but no matter how many monsters he killed, he couldn't gain XP. Instead, he gained Conquer Points, which unlocked certain skills for him. The skill he had at first, however, allowed him to know the level, name, and class of players. Nothing special, really. However, the kicker here is that the method of gaining XP is through killing other players. Things are about to get really interesting with the rebirth of the Demon Lord real soon. Coming in at number 7 is My School Life Pretending to be a Worthless Person. In this world, humans learn to use their spirit called an Ideya and manifest it as a weapon. Well, not necessarily a weapon in every case, but for the sake of argument here, we will go with the weaponry and armor. Enter our main character, who is a useless bum that is afraid of everything confrontational. His best thing to do is make excuses and run everywhere, but towards the fight. He is the infamous loser with the rank F Ideya, and even his homeroom teacher doesn't look towards his face from disgust. And not to mention that his classmates bully him day in and day out and treat him very harshly for his cowardly behavior. The moment the school was turning into a militaristic school, all his class students were given badges except him, for he was ranked as a trainee. And the teacher almost forces him to transfer schools. However, during the trial with the third years, his real power is revealed, and it is as scary as can be. This guy immediately reminded me of Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, and how it changes at just a moment's notice. He suddenly shifts from a coward that only knows how to make excuses into an absolute murdering machine that can shatter the strongest of Ideyas and whose power won't be sated unless someone dies or he loses his life. While the third option left is to shatter a number of Ideyas to satisfy his killer intent. Coming in at number 6 is Standard of Reincarnation. Born on the same day, these two babies couldn't be more different from each other than that. Kajin was the child of the main family Somian line, and blessed by the gods, a perfect baby and a blessing to his line. While Daven, the son of the Branch family, was born with his right arm gone. A baby hated by his father, his mother, Kajin, and even his whole family. His parents even sold him off for 300,000 gold coins and never wanted anything to do with him afterwards. He had a very hard life and a painful childhood thanks to the abuse of Kajin. However, he took all that pain, the suffering, and trained all day and all night. Kajin slacked off and lost his edge. He stopped training. He slept with women and did drugs as well. At the age of 29, he finally defeated Kajin for the first time out of all their 21 duels. But since Kajin is a petty bastard, he stabbed him in the back, claimed he had a contract with a demon, and imprisoned him. Eventually, with Daven dying in jail from malnutrition, he reincarnated 500 years later in the family line of his best friend and student Arsalan, only to discover that he was turned into a demon god, and Kajin became the true sword hero that killed the demon lord Daven. With a new body, 2 hands, and a dream to continue the legacy of his friend, Vincent, the new vessel of Daven, will destroy his old family and reveal the truth of his innocence. They wanted a villain, now Daven will give them what they asked for. What a complete badass. Coming in at number 5 is Dungeons and Artifacts. Stech Atelier, a rank A explorer, is the one this story revolves around. He is practically the medieval fantasy version of Venom. Hold on, let me explain. A rich lord with his mini army decides to hire Stech as a guide for the strongest and oldest dungeon in the country. This system works as follows. The stronger and older the dungeon, the more powerful the artifact is. These artifacts grant the powerful skills and abilities to their users as long as they beat the dungeon. Stech navigates the lord and his company through the traps of the dungeon, and then they face off against the dungeon guardian, a powerful Tarrasque that they had difficulty killing. Once they made it into the artifact chamber, the lord tricked Stech into grabbing the skull ring, and the curse placed on it melted his skin and killed him. When the lord wanted to grab the ring, it latched onto the body of Stech, and the room began to collapse, dropping Stech into a deep hole underground. Now for the Venom part. The artifact, for starters, is so powerful it has over 40 abilities and skills, which is equal to 4 lifetimes of people learning skills. The second thing is, it is a symbiote like Venom, and if it isn't fed on time, the user is killed. Thus, it perishes as well. Stech now is on a path of vengeance after being labeled as a wanted man and a fugitive, and that is why now he will kill this lord and have his revenge for his trickery. Coming in at number 4 is Helmut, the Forsaken Child. This is one of the coolest badass introductions ever. For starters, he already set up a trap for his enemies and knew that they were coming for his head. And second, his skill with the bow is amazing, and his design overall is just so cool. A group of trained assassins became children begging for their lives and asking for forgiveness. Mind you, they're the same guys that were so intent on killing him, and made fun of him for using a vine as an arrow. As a baby, he was afflicted by something called the Seed of Evil. taken from his family and banished into the demonic forest where none ever returned. Add to the fact that he was raised by a freaking demonic leopard. Talk about backstory. If you guys want to know more about the Helmut story, then you have to read it for yourselves. Coming in at number 3 is Plus 99 Wooden Stick. Revenge is a dish best served cold, meaning calm, collected calculation. This VR game is actually the greatest and most popular game in this universe. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is playing it. Our main character is just a noob that has moderate equipment and no one wants to pair with him. Because of that, he is left alone in the lobby with no one at all to join him, and is kinda down because of that. Until a beautiful lady who is probably a healer approaches him and offers to do a hunting round with him. She is so gorgeous and innocent and listens to his stories and laughs to his jokes, so obviously something is wrong. Once they were alone in the forest, she kills him as part of her side quest and makes fun of his parents being poor. Damn. I mean, that's not cool, man. That's just not cool. That hits home. Once he revived back at the lobby, he lost all his equipment and destroyed them after trying to enhance them. Some new player gave him a wooden stick, and just like he appeared, he was gone. With nothing left to lose, he begins enhancing the stick with nothing in his mind, but it's gonna break soon. And newsflash, it didn't. And it reached the maximum level of enhancement, plus 99. Some might laugh, it's a stick after all. Well, yes, it's a stick that when he accidentally dropped, tore the continent in half and killed 850,617 players with one hit. With each notification flashing on his screen, his smirk becomes wider and wider until he gave in to the devilish ideas rushing to his brain with one goal in mind: pay that bitch back with interest. Coming in at number 2 is Player Who Returned 10,000 Years Later. What could possibly be more evil or more badass than the king of the entirety of hell? I'll answer that for you. There isn't. This guy lived for 10,000 consecutive years in hell itself, consuming hundreds of thousands of demons and monsters, including but not exclusive to the 7 Lords of Hell themselves. This guy could be the next Doomslayer. Even though they are arguably supposed to be the strongest beings in hell, they still lost to his loyal servant Balak. Mind you, when the Demon King just speaks, Balak freezes in fear and terror. He is that strong. However, all he dreams and aspires to is to return to Earth and have a decent meal, meet a girl, have fun for once after 10,000 years. And this ritual ends up being a success. However, on his way, something wrong happens and he ends up in somewhere other than Earth with goblins, stats, abilities, and levels. What was worse and made him go insanely mad was the fact that his abilities and skills were sealed and limited to an extent. In this new unfamiliar world, he will have to gain back his strength and find a way back to Earth no matter what underhanded or evil tactic he uses. After all, he is the ruthless ruler of hell. And number 1 goes to One Hit Teacher Master Bach. This story is a bit long and complicated as it takes place in 2 different timelines, but the same worlds. This main character in his first life was working with the Demon Blood Cult on learning the martial arts of the 4 Lords of Murim. After they were captured, he had 10 years to learn from them and soothe their experiences to create his own 5th mastery technique. And even though the 5 masters broke out of their imprisonment and caused quite the damage in the Blood Cult ranks, they were still defeated and eradicated by the hands of the Blood Cult leader himself. This main character still has his skills when he was reborn in a new body. However, his new vessel was so frail and couldn't handle the strain of his power techniques. Skills and techniques said to be the strongest in all of Murim. His battle with the evil demon cult isn't over though. Just like how he revived someone from the shadows, is trying to revive the demon cult again as well. His evil techniques will be used for good, for once at least. And with that, we conclude our video. If you enjoyed this list, I want you to smash that thumbs up button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and press on that bell icon to keep yourself notified of all our latest new videos. Also, comment down below on the model you like the most on this list, and if you are planning to read any of them anytime soon, and if you have any suggestions, place them in the comments down below as well. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.